Hello and welcome to Starcraft 2 Report, Episode 2 of the MLG Editions. As you can see, I'm kind of bumming it right now. Just got a t-shirt and whatever on because, frankly, it's about 1,000,000,085 degrees where I'm living. And, yeah, it's kind of nice to not be wearing a dress shirt all the time. So, anyways, we're going to get straight into the brackets. I'm going to let you guys know where we're at moving into Sunday after Saturday. Looking at the winners bracket, we had Dignitas's Naniwa is going to be facing I Am Lucira in round 1 of the winners championship bracket. And then if we move to also in round 1, the B match is going to be Idra versus Slayers MMA. Really, it's anybody's guess as to who's going to end up making it to the championship match. Out of these 4, it definitely will be one of these 4. Naniwa's obviously been extremely strong. Lucira looking absolutely great. I mean, you can't deny that Lucira and MMA as Korean representatives have been absolutely wonderful players. I think if any North American definitely has a good chance to get past the Korean they're playing, I'd give it to Idra, only for the sense that MMA tends to play a very opening macro-oriented style into a lot of drop play and stuff, and that's something Idra seems to actually do pretty well against if his opponent isn't going to do some kind of a crazy early aggression play. So I could see Idra potentially beating out MMA. Whether or not he could beat Lucira, if Lucira beats Naniwa, I don't know. I think Idra would actually do better against Naniwa, so I think what would be best for North American fans and for Idra and Naniwa in a sense is for Naniwa and Idra to both win their matches, and that would probably put Idra in the championship match. If Lucira got through past Naniwa, then I think it could be a toss-up who would get through. Moving to the losers bracket now, as we see here coming up. Right now, round 1, we had Cruncher beat Og, we had Vibe beat Maro, QXC beat Axelov, and then Nam Cheer lost to Kawhi Rice. Then we had Kawhi Rice over Moonin in round 2, Select over QXC, Vibe over TLO, and then Cruncher over Greetorp. So starting tomorrow with round 3, we're going to have Cruncher versus Kiwakaki. Kiwakaki's PvP is pretty good, so I could definitely see Kiwakaki coming out on top of that. Then we have Liquid Tyler versus Vibe. That could be a toss-up. Tyler's looked pretty strong this tournament, though, so he definitely could win that. We have Select versus In Control. Select's kind of terrible. In Control hasn't looked great either. That's kind of a toss-up, I'd say. If the good Select shows up, Select could definitely be moving through the bracket. Then Druby versus Kawhi Rice. Bit of a toss-up. I'd probably give it to Druby. Looking at the open brackets here and who I think would actually probably come out of it into the championship rounds, if you are on the MLG page and you scroll over more towards rounds 5, 6, 7, I'm going to guess either July or MC probably make it to round 7. Thorazane might be able to knock off MC, so we could end up having like a Thorazane versus July match, in which case I could see them both getting eliminated, and Thorazane could actually possibly come out of the lower bracket. Out of the upper bracket, it's kind of an interesting bracket. There's a lot of Zergs in the upper bracket. Majors look pretty strong, so Major definitely could be a dark horse to come out of the upper bracket of the losers bracket. Slush has looked better than he ever has. Sheth actually looked kind of bad in his match versus, I believe it was MMA. So, not sure about Sheth. Heypro's been playing a lot better than he had been in the past, so Heybro could definitely be a threat. So could Rhett. If I had to pick 1 or 2 to come out of there, I'd say maybe Major and Slush, although Kiwakaki could be a dark horse, although he's got a lot of matches to win. So I could see Major and Slush actually make it out of there to round 7, and probably either OGSMC versus July or Thorazane versus July will be the other matchup. And then they'll be playing in round 8, the losers of the first round. And honestly, the only one I think for sure has got a good chance to win in round 8 would either be Thorazane or MC. Maybe July, depending on how he plays. So probably what you'll be seeing is out of the round 8 of the upper bracket, whoever loses their match and ends up in the upper bracket, in the losers bracket from round 8 out of the championship bracket, probably will make it to round 9 pretty easily. And then I think you'll either get one of the Koreans or Thorazane out of the bottom bracket into round 9, moving towards the round 10 match, which will be the play between the winner of the loser of the semifinal, I should say, and the winner of the whole losers bracket for the chance to play in the final game. Definitely could have a lot of opportunities for extended series going into this, so could be very interesting. Now we're going to move into some highlights for you guys. I got tons of highlights. First highlight to kick it off, they started off today with round 5 with Phoenix versus Vibe. We got some pictures from that game right here for you guys. It was a pretty decent match. It was pretty interesting. Then we had Shadow versus Thorazane. Thorazane ended up winning that match, obviously. Shadow did do some cool things. There's a picture up here in Game 2 with some hallucinations, which was actually pretty cool. I did like what Shadow did there. It was really interesting. Won him one of the matches. Did take a game off Thorazane, so kudos to Shadow for that. Moving on to round 6, we had Axlab versus Major, and Major looked absolutely stout in this matchup. Major, in the interview afterwards, interestingly enough, said nobody loves Major. Doesn't think anybody likes him. Is renowned for his team hopping and whatnot, so does get a lot of bad publicity, I would say, so not a huge surprise. Moving on to some more highlights for you guys really quick. Moving on to pool play, we had Tyler versus Rhett. Game 1 was kind of like a whatever game. Wasn't really super interesting. It was a decent game. Game 2 was pretty interesting. We had Rhett with just tons and tons of like mass banelings. Did so much damage to Tyler. Ended up winning that game. Then we had here's a shot of the crowd. The crowd was absolutely amazing there at MLG Columbus. Tons of crowd. This was right before the Thorazane Major versus In Control match that this crowd shot was. In Control versus Major was kind of interesting. Game 1, In Control tried to do a Void Ray all-in, and Major just happened to be doing the exact counter to that, so that kind of stunk for In Control. And then in Game 2, Major came up with a really smart play with that hidden base and just absolutely crushed In Control. But both the games were pretty interesting. Then we had July versus Kiwakaki, some highlights from that. Game 1 was pretty cool. There was a late game Muta transition that July did. He got a really awesome surround on Kiwakaki and just absolutely obliterated his army. And then Game 2, knowing that he was ahead quite a bit, Kiwakaki tried to go for a kind of a greedy play, and July just went all in with Link Bailing, broke Kiwakaki pretty fast, won that game. Then we had one of the worst games, I'd say, of the day. If there was any game you were going to miss, this highlight kind of says it all. Pretty bad game. MMA versus Sheth. Sheth looked terrible. I don't know if he was nervous, tired, or what, but Sheth just looked absolutely abysmal. It was lopsided for MMA in Game 1. Game 2, Sheth forgets his pool. Then MMA kind of got sloppy and forgot his turrets against the Mutas, but MMA still ended up coming out on top. Then we had MMA versus July in Game 1. We had MMA doing some cool stuff. Ends up going back and forth with these games between MMA and July, so those ended up pretty cool. A couple of highlights scrolling across the screen here for you. And then we had one of the most talked about games of the day that ended up being kind of a letdown in the interview, which was Thorazane versus Idra. Game 1, as you can see right here, there was a tank push that Thorazane did. Ended up breaking Idra. In the interview afterwards, Thorazane was actually surprised it broke Idra. And then in Game 2, this highlight coming up here, you had the double dropship. Thorazane actually called it cheese. I guess it's cheesy-ish, but definitely kind of a little bit late to be true cheese. So Idra just wasn't prepared for the drop. Didn't have banelings yet. Couldn't do anything about it. Let the Marines get into his mineral line, and that was all she wrote. The interview was interesting, though, extremely interesting, because Thorazane said that, as we're coming back to my camera now, you can see me again. Thorazane, interestingly enough, said that he didn't think Idra was trying. Didn't feel like Idra cared about the games. The game actually did not matter to the pool play. Idra had won the pool already going into the game. Idra knew this. So Thorazane kind of felt like he didn't get his best games that he could have out of Idra. Seemed even a little disappointed, maybe even mad that Idra maybe didn't try hard enough to give him good games. And then finally, one last thing I want to mention is there was actually one game, I'm thinking about casting it later, there was an hour-long game between Bisonic and VTs of Velo. Their Game 2. I haven't checked the replay yet to see if it's worth casting, but I might be casting that game because, yeah, that's absolutely ridiculous that there be such a long game. So yes, MLG will be back on later today. You'll be viewing this in the morning, obviously. Definitely be looking for some of the dark horses to come forward. I think you could definitely see any of the top 4 getting into that championship match out of there. Definitely could be watching for guys like Major, Kiwakaki, July, MC, Thorzane, Chef if he starts playing better. Hey-Pro could be kind of a dark horse or one of those guys to be coming out of the losers bracket to maybe make an upset here or there and end up doing some good. Even Slush has been playing quite a bit better than he has in the past, so Slush could even be a dark horse in that. So, anyways, for now, guys, this is going to be Ken Nursky Decker saying goodbye for the StarCraft 2 report. For now, I will see you guys at the next report. Peace.